The alien billionaire banned every human from getting near her disabled daughter. But when she walked in and saw a human janitor gently wiping tears from the child's face, she didn't call security. She whispered, "Who are you? And how did you make her smile?" Evan Cross had learned long ago how to move like a shadow. Quiet, unnoticed, and deliberately small. It was the only way a human survived inside Astroline Conservatory, the most prestigious academy in the Helion sector, where alien elites floated through the halls wearing shimmering fabrics and expressions carved from arrogance. Humans weren't banned here. They were simply invisible, which was somehow worse. Evan pushed his cleaning cart along the glass corridor, watching his reflection distort across the curved walls. One tired human man swallowed by a building that looked grown rather than built. Vines of metallic light crawled along the ceilings, pulsing like slow heartbeats. Students from 10 species drifted past, their conversations carrying subtle insults disguised as culture. "Humans break easily," one whispered. "More reason to avoid them," another replied. Evan didn't react. He just smirked under his breath. Break easily. Try surviving a quake zone on Europa with nothing but duct tape and caffeine. But sarcasm stayed in his head. Speaking it out loud was a good way to lose the only job that kept him off the streets. He preferred evenings. Fewer eyes. Less judgment. More peace. That peace shattered with a sharp thud from the xenobiology wing. Instinct, old military instinct, pulled him toward the sound. Evan approached the lab quietly, expecting a fallen piece of equipment or maybe a malfunctioning drone. Instead, he froze at the doorway. A tiny alien girl sat slumped in a hoverchair, her aqua skin pale, her breaths uneven. A spilled vial of iridescent serum dripped down her neck, staining her collar. Her hands trembled violently as she tried wiping the substance away, only smearing it further. She couldn't have been older than 7. Without thinking, Evan crossed the room. Hey, easy," he whispered, kneeling in front of her. "It's okay. I'm here." Her luminous eyes widened, frightened. Not of him, but of being seen like this. The serum had soaked into her skin, already irritating it. Evan grabbed a clean cloth from his cart, gently dabbing the chemical off her face. His movements were careful, almost instinctive, quick breaths, steady hands. "You're human," she whispered. "Last time I checked," he said softly, forcing a small smile. "Mind if I help you breathe a little easier?" She nodded weakly. He adjusted her airway the same way he'd done 100 times during rescue missions. Her chest eased. Her panic softened. For the first time, she looked safe. Then the door hissed open. A tall alien woman, radiant, powerful, sharp as shattered crystal, stepped in. The billionaire, the mother. Her golden eyes locked onto the sight, her fragile daughter, and a human janitor's hands on her face. The room went utterly silent. For a long moment, no one moved. The alien woman, tall, immaculate, carved from cold authority, took in every detail. Her daughter's flushed cheeks, the serum stains, and the human janitor still kneeling beside her. Evan slowly raised his hands, palms open. I was just helping." She couldn't breathe. The woman's gaze flicked to her daughter. "Ariella?" she murmured, voice trembling in a way that betrayed how tightly she was trying to control it. "Are you harmed?" The girl shook her head. "He helped me, Mother." He didn't even hesitate. Something complicated passed across the woman's face. Relief, guilt, pride, confusion. All layered beneath a mask she clearly wore for survival, not style. "I am Lady Seraphic's Veil," she said finally, voice steadying. "And you are?" "Evan Cross, janitor, part-time floor polisher, amateur disaster magnet." Ariella giggled. A soft, startled sound, as though she wasn't used to laughing. Seraphix noticed it, and for the first time her expression cracked. Not much, but enough to expose something human beneath the alien perfection. She dismissed her guards with a flick of her hand, then gestured to Evan. "Walk with me." Evan swallowed. Walking alone with a trillionaire alien matriarch was the kind of thing that ended careers, reputations, sometimes lives. But he followed. They stepped into a private atrium, moonlight rippling across floating crystal platforms. Seraphix didn't look at him at first. She stared at her reflection in the glass. "That serum on my daughter," she finally said, "was not the one prescribed." There was no guesswork in her voice. No doubt. Only cold fury carefully caged. Evan felt a chill run down his spine. "You think someone tampered with it?" "I know someone did," she replied. "And you reacted to her symptoms faster than my own medical team." "That's just training," he murmured. "Old life. Old life." She turned toward him. "You handled a respiratory collapse like someone who has seen too many of them." He didn't answer. He didn't need to. Seraphix stepped closer, golden eyes studying him the way one studies a weapon they're not sure is safe to hold. "I want to hire you, Evan Cross, personally, as Ariella's caretaker." Evan blinked. "I'm a janitor." "And yet," she said quietly, "she smiled for you. She breathed because of you. Tell me one alien in this entire academy who has achieved either." He couldn't argue with that. He also couldn't ignore the fear twisting in his stomach. A human taking a position that close to a Vale family member? People disappeared for less. Ariella hovered into the corridor at that moment, eyes hopeful. "Please stay." And just like that, the decision he'd been dreading landed squarely on his chest. "All right," Evan said softly. "I'm in." Seraphix exhaled, relief, gratitude, something unnamed. "Then understand this, human," she said. "From this moment on, your life will not be simple." It already wasn't. The Vale estate looked less like a home and more like a living organism. Its walls pulsed with soft bioluminescent veins, and its towers curved upward like ancient trees reaching for a distant sun. Evan stepped out of the shuttle, gripping his single duffel bag like a man entering enemy territory. Ariella rolled forward in her hover chair, beaming. "Welcome to my home," she declared proudly, as though she owned half the galaxy. Technically, she did. Seraphix, flanked by her guards, watched Evan with that unreadable expression of hers. "Stay close. Some of the staff have strong opinions." That turned out to be an understatement. The moment Evan entered the main hall, conversations died. Alien servants froze mid-step, their eyes widening as though an insect had wandered into a royal banquet. A tall Threxian butler sniffed the air dramatically. Evan raised an eyebrow. "Do I smell offensive?" "Yes," the butler replied without hesitation. "But I suppose some humans cannot help it." Ariella burst into giggles. Seraphix pressed her fingers to her forehead. "Thalan, that's enough." Evan offered a dry smile. "I'll try not to contaminate any priceless carpets." A faint twitch of amusement flickered across Seraphix's lips, brief, but real. She guided Evan to a private medical suite deeper in the mansion. Inside, advanced equipment hummed softly, glowing with alien symbols. Evan scanned the room, instincts kicking in. Every machine, every vial, every datapad, it all formed a picture that didn't make sense. "These treatments," he murmured, flipping through Ariella's medical records, "are too aggressive for her age. Her metabolic rate can't process half these compounds." Seraphix stiffened. Her doctor insisted they were necessary. "Your records disagree." Evan looked up. His voice softened. "They're hurting her, Seraphix." Slowly, the name slipped out before he could stop it. She noticed but didn't correct him. Before she could respond, Ariella's voice cut through the tension. "Mother, look." Her small fingers trembled as she tried lifting a spoon. For months, she'd barely managed to grip anything. Now the spoon wobbled, then stabilized. Evan crouched beside her, offering encouragement. "Steady. That's it, good job, kiddo." Ariella's eyes shone with pride. "Did you see that?" Seraphix inhaled sharply. Not a cold breath, an emotional one. "Yes," she whispered, brushing her daughter's hair. "I saw." For a moment the world softened. A mother, a child, a man who just wanted to help. Then the door slid open. The family doctor, Dr. Orcs, stormed in, his 4 eyes narrowing. "What is a human doing in my medical wing?" Evan stood slowly, meeting the doctor's glare without flinching. Trying to keep your patient alive. The room fell into stunned silence. Seraphics's gaze sharpened. It was the first moment Evan realized. He hadn't just stepped into a job. He'd stepped into a war. Dr. Yorick's outrage filled the medical suite like a sour smell. A human meddling with neurological treatments? This is unacceptable. Evan didn't react. He dealt with louder men in worse places. Instead, he calmly lifted Ariella's datapad and handed it toward Seraphix, keeping his eyes on the doctor. These treatment logs were altered, Evan said. Look at the timestamps. Half the doses given to Ariella were never approved. Seraphix froze. The room's lights dimmed for a second. The mansion reacted to her emotional spike the way a ship responded to turbulence. Yorick sputtered. Altered? Impossible. I would never jeopardize a Val. Save it. Evan pointed at a spike in the chart. This dosage alone was enough to cause neural collapse. Anyone trained in triage would see it. Seraphix stepped forward, her voice dangerously soft. Doctor, explain this. Yorick opened and closed his mouth, but no words came. A bead of violet sweat formed near his temple. He looked guilty, but something in his expression felt off. Almost rehearsed. Evan frowned. Too scared. Too defensive. Too noisy. People hiding something real usually tried to act calm, not hysterical. He filed that away silently. Ariella tugged Evan's sleeve. Are you angry? He kneeled beside her, softening his voice. No, kiddo. Just trying to solve a puzzle. She nodded solemnly like an old general instead of a 7-year-old child. With Yorick dismissed under guard, Seraphix led Evan to her late husband's research wing, sealed behind biometric locks and the kind of security that suggested she rarely visited. Inside, dust motes floated through cold, untouched air. Nothing here felt alive except the echo of memories Seraphix clearly didn't talk about. This was Talrin's sanctuary, she said quietly. He worked day and night searching for a cure. Evan ran his fingers over a console. You loved him. Seraphix stiffened, caught off guard. Yes. There was no coldness in the answer, only a fracture of pain she didn't hide quickly enough. A thin hollow disk blinked on the workstation. Evan activated it. A projection of Talrin Vale appeared. Tired eyes, desperate voice. If you're seeing this, someone inside the Vale Foundation has been altering my research. They want Ariella's condition to worsen. I don't know who to trust. Seraphix's hand trembled. She reached for the hologram as if she could touch him. Evan lowered his voice. Seraphix. This wasn't Yorick's. He's scared, not strategic. How can you be certain? She whispered. Because whoever sabotaged this. Evan pointed to encrypted system logs, had access to top-tier clearance. Someone close to your husband. Someone close to you. Before Seraphix could respond, a deafening boom shook the research wing. Lights flickered. Dust rained down. Ariella's voice crackled through the intercom. Panicked. Frightened. Mother? Evan? Someone's in my room. Evan's blood ran cold. This wasn't sabotage anymore. It was an attack. Evan didn't wait for instructions. He sprinted. Seraphix was right beside him, her long strides matching his urgency as alarms rippled through the mansion like a rising storm. Ariella's room door stood half open, the lights inside flickering in a panicked strobe. Evan burst in first. The hover chair was overturned. Ariella was gone. In her place, a hollow message blinked in the air. Cold, measured, and unmistakably deliberate. If the child survives the night, the Vale Empire falls. Seraphix pressed a trembling hand to her mouth. Malvern, she whispered. My cousin. My own blood. The betrayal hit her like a physical blow. Evan caught her elbow before she collapsed, steadying her. We're not losing her, he said, voice firm. Not tonight. Not ever. The mansion's security feed showed a single transport leaving the estate, an unauthorized one, heading toward the abandoned skydocks beyond the city's shield barrier. Evan didn't wait for permission. Prep a shuttle. I'm going after her. Seraphix's eyes were fierce and wet at the same time. I'm coming with you. The shuttle cut through the night sky, its engines humming like a heartbeat on the verge of breaking. Below them, the capital glittered. Above them, dawn crept toward the horizon, one they might not survive to see. The skydock was silent, a skeleton of rusted platforms and broken rails. Evan approached cautiously, pulse sharp, senses alive. He spotted movement. A tall figure holding Ariella over a narrow maintenance bridge, a glowing neural disruptor pressed against her neck. "Step any closer," Malvern hissed, "and I end the bloodline." Ariella whimpered, reaching for Evan. "Please, don't let him." Evan raised both hands. "Let her go, Malvern. This isn't the way. She was never meant to rule." Malvern barked. "A sick child? A fragile heir? Talrin's cure would have ruined everything." "I corrected his mistake." Seraphix's voice cracked from behind Evan. "You murdered my husband." Malvern smirked. "And now I finish what I began." The disruptor glowed brighter. Evan acted on instinct, human instinct. He stepped forward, deliberately slipping on the slick metal. The distraction made Malvern jerk his arm. Ariella seized the moment, biting down hard on his hand. He screamed. Evan lunged, knocking Ariella free and tackling Malvern. The disruptor fired, hitting Evan square in the shoulder. Pain flared white-hot, but he stayed on his feet long enough to take Malvern down. Guards swarmed in. Ariella clung to Evan's neck, sobbing. Seraphix dropped to her knees beside them, tears finally escaping the walls she always held too tightly. "You saved her," she whispered. "You saved both of us." Evan gave a weak, crooked smile. "Humans break easily, remember? Guess I missed the memo." Seraphix laughed, a broken, beautiful sound, and pulled him close. As the sun crested the horizon, lighting the dock in gold, she whispered, "When an alien billionaire saw a human janitor saving her child, she didn't just hire him. She trusted him with her world." And for the first time, Evan believed he might belong in it. And that's how a human janitor became the most trusted man in an alien empire, proving once again, humanity isn't weak, it's unstoppable.